Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Nathan's Next Chapter. I am your host, Christine Staple Ebanks. I am the special needs Mama Bear, and I am Nathan's mama. And I am so happy that you have taken the time to come back to take a look at what it is that we're sharing and we're doing. We're so glad to have you here. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If this is not your first, trip around the sun with us. You've joined us before. Welcome back. We are glad that you are here. So, in this week's segment, I have a very special feature that I'm going to show. But before I get into that, I just kind of want to remind us that last week we took a look at Nathan's New Year's resolution that he made as part of his program at school. And for those who do not know, Nathan has cerebral palsy. He is now 20 years old. But when he was born, we lived in Jamaica at the time, and the diagnosis came as a shock to us. I didn't know what cerebral palsy was, had never heard of it before, couldn't even pronounce cerebral palsy. Took me a long time to pronounce it, much more to understand what it meant for him, what it meant for us. And so it has been a journey of learning, a lifelong journey of learning to understand this young man and to understand how I can support him. And let me tell you, he's just an amazing, amazing person. So Nathan is now transitioning out of high school into adult program because he turns 21 in May. And Nathan's next chapter is focused on helping us to follow his journey as he transitions out. So last week we shared about his New Year's resolution that he did this year as part of his class activity. And within the resolution, some of the things that he has set as his goal is to be a good friend. Another goal is to try new foods. And a third goal is to follow directions. And I must tell you that Nathan is working on those goals. He is approaching it as if it's a full-time job with pay. And I make the point because I always explain to people that because an individual has a disability and because they may be nonverbal, it doesn't mean that they're not understanding. It doesn't mean that they don't want to achieve some level of independence and agency. So it is our job to support. So for this episode, I'm going to take you behind the curtain into Nathan's earlier life. And I came across the video while looking for some other stuff this week that I had created. And I will give you the backstory on that a little bit later. But until then, I want to remind you, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, to subscribe, to like, and to share. And I will see you in a moment. We'll be right back.
So many reasons why I want for you, my love. Now you I want to retire with my love. See all the good things you do, they make me know. Oh no, no. This distance is taking a hold of me for sure. Baby, come closer. I want to make it closer. Girl, I want making you closer. I feel like making you closer.
So, welcome back. So, let me give you a bit of a background. So, as I said, Nathan was born in Kingston, Jamaica. And when he was born, and he had a congenital diaphragmatic hernia problem, he had surgery at 3 days old, spent the first 28 days in the hospital, and then he came home. And I noticed that he wasn't developing, he wasn't achieving the milestone, he wasn't learning to roll over, he wasn't learning to observe the world. After 3 months, 4 months, it was like he was still a brand new baby. He had problem feeding and he just fed and slept. And that was it. He just wasn't engaging. And so I brought it to the attention of then the doctor who was seeing him as an outpatient post-surgery, and he just wasn't paying attention to it. So I moved to the pediatrician who was seeing his three other siblings, and they began to track him. And at 9 months, he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. But like most families in Jamaica and most families elsewhere, we get a diagnosis, but not an explanation of what it means. Nobody educates us about what this condition is, how it will impact the child's in all the domain of development and what it is that we can do as parents to support our children in that regard. So that was the case, with us in Jamaica. So after a while, when I realized that I wasn't understanding the disability anymore than I did at the beginning. Nathan was now 2, and I lived in the fear that he would die. And, I lived in that holding pattern for a while. And I said to my husband, Robert, listen, I gotta go someplace else where other people know more about this disability who can help me understand. And so thank God for grandparents. With their support, we were able to take him to a facility in Sunrise, Florida, where he got an interdisciplinary assessment. And what do I mean by that? He was seen by a neurologist who then referred him to several other specialists, including a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, an audiologist to check his ear, and an ophthalmologist to check his eyes, and then an orthopedic specialist to check his body and what he needs in terms of bracing, because cerebral palsy creates muscle weakness all over the body. And so the child is not able to sit up or stand or walk and make that kind of progression. They need support. And so we saw all of these different specialists, and I was given some training, and then I came back to Jamaica after 3.5, 4 weeks. And within a month of being back, all the things that I was taught to do, Nathan had outgrown them. So we took another short trip, and then that was it for another 2 years until we fundraised and took him for a longer spell of intervention, which was either 3.5 or 4 months in Florida. And it was another parent who told me about this program, and I'm so forever grateful to her. And so we were able to take him there. So I had created this video to help those who supported the fundraising understand what they contributed to. I wanted them to be able to visually see the process. And I created the video, and I'd sent it out to them. So I came across a video a couple of days ago, and I was just watching it, and I was just crying, crying my heart. When I saw some of what my son had to go through, and he didn't like a lot of what, because it was hard work. If you think about yourself going to the gym and you're under the eyes of a trainer who is spotting you, so you can't stop, you have to keep going. And you think about how you feel, and now put this on a baby. And so, I still feel the pain, and it just brought back those memories. But I also saw the joy. I saw how he felt when he achieved something, and the beautiful smile that would just crack his face wide open. And so I'm going to share this video with you, and so you can get a better sense of what those early days are like. So take a look. It never gets easy. It never gets easy. But it is a testimony of just how far God has taken us, and how he has blessed us, and how he has blessed Nathan. And wasn't he so cute? Oh my gosh, he is so cute. Would you believe I never saw that? I never saw how cute my son was, because my eyes were fixed on his disability, because that's what that's how he was presented to me, as a disabled child. And so it took me a long time to get past the disabled, and just to see this just a beautiful and amazing young man that he is. But that's why I share the video, so that people can get a better sense of what a process looks like. Now, all that Nathan did back then, after that intervention at 4, that was it. So everything between 4 and 16, it was us. It was me finding videos, me finding people bringing to Jamaica to do training with us, me finding speech therapist, my amazing friend Erin, who supported the work of the foundation that I started, the Nathan Banks Foundation, and who just became an advisor for us when it came to speech development for Nathan. And so it was me creating the solutions that I wanted. And I say that to parents, to say that you have more power than you know, and you're able to do more than you think you can. And here's the other thing that I learned. There are professionals out there, when they find parents like me who will do anything that we can for our son, they become as vested as I am in pointing me to resource and in helping me with resource and in supporting me because they want to support us. And many of the professionals who get into the field, the special education disability field, they already have a compassionate heart. They have a heart to serve. Some enter because they have had personal experience, maybe a sibling or even sometimes a child. Others enter because maybe as a child or a teenager, they work with someone in the population, but they already come with a heart that is willing and ready to help. And so I just want to encourage you, don't cut them off, but just bring them in as part of your village. And I talk about your village a lot when I do. So I want you to take a look at where Nathan is today at 20. And all of this was made possible because of those early start that he got in getting some of the support he needs. Take a look. Wasn't that amazing? Now imagine how much further Nathan would be today if he had gotten all of the intervention that he got back then consistently. But we are still grateful because he has gotten more than most that who we know about. And so we are grateful for what he was able to get. And we're grateful for the last 5 years that he has been getting these services consistently. Now, next week coming up, I'm going to share about his wheelchair because he's transitioning his wheelchair. And for those of us who have children with special needs, especially those with mobility needs, we understand that everything around them is an event. And I'm going to share about his wheelchair specific to the challenges that we had in Jamaica and to kind of now visually show you why it is difficult to provide a proper seating support for children like Nathan when you don't have access to the different specialists like a wheelchair technician, like a physical therapist who's specializing in seating, like an orthopedic specialist who will help with positioning, why it becomes difficult and detrimental because Nathan is now developing scoliosis. And it is because he's been sitting all of his life. And so without the right support, it begins to create other kinds of pressure points, other kinds of problems for the individuals. But I will share about this process next week. We're going into the rehab clinic to do some seating, some molding and some seating. So I'm going to be taking videos of that and I'm going to be showing you and just walking you through that process as he transitions. A wheelchair through his insurance is supposed to last 5 years. So this is the first change that he's getting in the last 5 years, and he has outgrown the frame he's in. He has outgrown everything. And so we already did the evaluation from last October. And we're now just ready because they have just gotten full approval from the insurance. And we're now just ready to now do the seating so that they can continue building out a wheelchair. So we're going to walk you through that process. So until then, I'll see you. But remember, hit the subscribe button below. Remember to like and share and also to send us your comment because guess what? Nathan loves to hear from you all and I read them to him. So until next time, see you. Bye.